Well, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Painting My Friends Army. For the majority of you that keep watching my videos, you already have the understanding that I am not rushing this whole project first. And secondly, for the keen-eyed amongst you, you have understand that I paint its unit on its own. You know, its unit gets its time on my bench and gets its individual video. So today we have another unit to paint. This is a 3-man squad, and their name is Weirdbrute Wrekkaz. So I'm gonna, from my understanding, these guys are some kind of orc berserkers. That orcs sound bad on their own. Orc berserkers sound terrible, if you ask me. Anyway, straight out of the bat, I am going to warn you guys. This is going to be one of my long format videos, and this is due to a friend of mine. I wanna create a specific tutorial for a specific friend of mine. This friend is none other than Kenneth. Hey Kenny, I hope that you're watching this right now. So Kenny is a military modeler. He is a very talented guy. You won't find him anywhere. I mean that he has no YouTube or Instagram account or anything like that. You may find him in the top tier Facebook groups, top tier in my opinion. He's a member over there, and he shares a little. We've been friends for a couple of years now, but I have seen once or twice his work. And I have to admit that his work is wonderful. Anyway, Kenny shown some interest to my figure painting, so I told him that I am going to create a tutorial specifically for him. And this is Kenny's tutorial. Nothing else for me to note here. Anyway, this is not only specifically for Kenny. You guys all know that that I can keep you company while you're working on something. So grab your hot brew or cold beer or cold beverage, whatever you want, and let's start. So, as I've said, I am going to paint a 3-man squad. These guys are the Weirdbrute Wrekkaz, the berserkers of the army, of my friends, one of the hit bricks. That's how I'm gonna call them. I have already painted 2 guys off camera. Here they are in all their glory. I have given them simple bases, mainly because in the middle of building my friend's army, I decided, why shouldn't I give that army bases? You know, when you're painting a figure that it has a base, it is good for you to create even a simple base. It tells a story, it makes the figure look more complete. You don't need to do anything fancy, just a few materials. I am gonna show you through the course of this video what you can do with simple stuff, almost free. To spend €1.50 in materials is nothing. 1.5 €2 in my case. I don't know, $2 or whatever your currency is nothing compared to 10 or $30 euro whatever in materials that you can source from getting out there, going for a walk, etc., etc. Anyway, that's a topic for later. I'm not gonna discuss about it. So these guys are ready. Here's one guy in all his glory. He's swinging his spiked ball. Dear Lord, I don't wanna get the hit from something like that. Ooh, this could scrap you. Could scrap you really, really good. All I want you to, the point I want you guys to focus today, on today's episode, is the skin tones. So today we're gonna focus over there mainly because these guys are almost, naked, almost naked. They have some armor on them, but we are gonna work with skin tones mainly. The bulk of those figures is skin. So here is how they look, how this guy looks. And here is his pal. He has an interesting mask. And he's in a more relaxed pose, in a standby pose. Once again, many different, textures like cloth. Let me grab a pointer. Nope. Like cloth over here, armor over here, skin tone, bone, you name it, we have it. We have leather, etc., etc. Now, for the most keen-eyed amongst you, the guys that they are familiar with the Oruk army of Age of Sigmar, you can see that there is some parts missing, like over here. This guy is missing a part of his armor due to my friend. These three. Let me grab the third one. Are the figures he assembled first. As I've said, he's a rookie to this hobby, and he forgot to attach some pieces. Luckily, he has the box, and he will bring it to me one of these days. So I am going to attach the missing pieces, mainly because each one of them has a missing piece. Like armor pieces over here at the hand, wristbands, etc., etc. This guy also is missing another piece, but we are gonna talk about it when the time comes. Anyway, I am going to paint them as they are right now, and we will see how this will end up. Anyway, either way, you guys cannot be affected by the missing armor pieces. The armor the armor treatment that I am going to give these guys is the same for each piece. Doesn't matter. So we have two guys ready, and we are gonna focus on this fella over here. I specifically chose him for this tutorial mainly because he's a nice canvas, if I can name him like that. Every figure is a nice canvas for a specific thing. Here's a nice canvas over here for skin tones, Look at all the exposed skin area that he has. I can work nicely with this and give you some examples. Now, what he is missing his wristbands, one over here and one over here. As you can see, his hand is kinda weirdly shaped over here, mainly because there is a part missing, and he is missing his waist armor, his crotch armor. Oh, you need to protect that area, my friend. But anyway, we're gonna skip that piece. Anyway, if he doesn't wanna protect his precious, that's fine by me. So, I chose him mainly because he is a nice canvas, and I also chose him mainly because he was the easiest guy to, not reattach, to get out of his base. He's not glued on his base properly right now, so I can give you a good example on the base, and I can give you a good example on his skin tone. So that's the guy that's going to be our today's, victim for tutorial. And what's my plan with him? You're gonna see. I am going to paint the majority of him on camera. I am going to share as much details and tips and tricks as I can. as I know. Don't expect a professional mini painter over here, guys. I'm your everyday, your average Joe, your everyday next door neighbor. So I am going to paint him as I know. Now, if you guys have any tips and tricks yourselves, you are welcome to share them on my comment section below. uh, I am always eager to hear your opinions or your advices or anything in general. That's our subject. Here's our subject. What I am going to use right now, you may ask. I am going to use as little, yeah, as little tools and supplies as I can, mainly because I want to give you guys an example that you can paint whatever with not spending a huge amount of money on tools and accessories and paints. Okay, I have a ton of paint, but that's my kink. To be honest with you guys, I don't know why. I like to collect paint. I like to try new paints, etc., etc. All I want you guys to know is that if you have basic colors, you can make them work. Nobody's gonna tell the difference if this guy is painted with pale green, for example, and this guy is painted with warg flesh, okay? There's gonna be a slight difference, mainly because this is a darker green than this one. But if we had two colors, let's say this one is olive green. If there is a slight difference in hues between these two colors. Nobody is going to be able to tell the difference. And to be frankly honest with you guys, why should all orcs or humans have the same skin tone? There is artistic liberty over here, guys. No one is the same. I don't have the same skin tone as you that you are watching this video right now. So you don't need to have a specific brand of paints to paint something. So that's my first tip. As long as you have, the colors that you want, as long as you have two types of green, one dark and one light, you can make this work. Or if you have one type of green and something to dilute it, to create, a lighter shade of green, then you can make it work as well. So you don't need to spend a whole bunch of money in various brands of paints and in various colors. You can make it work with what you have. Now, if you wish to spend a whole ton of money in that stuff, you are free to do it. I am just going to show you the economic side of things, the way I do it personally. Uh, yeah, that's all. Let me get a little bit more prepared, and I am going to be back to show you my tools arsenal and the first color application to our flying guy over here. Sorry. So, what do we guys need in order to paint this dude over here and his squad? But anyway, for this dude specifically. Apart from the obvious parts, like the dude that you need to paint and the colors of your choice, don't mind them over here, they're just there. You need a jar of, dirty paint water or clean water for paint, a random wet palette, or a palette in general. I am going to use a wet palette mainly because it maintains my colors alive for longer periods, and I don't have much bench time anyway, so we need a place to clean our brushes, a place to put our paints, a palette to place our paints in order to paint, a paper tissue, to rub, to get the moisture out of your brush, to clean your brush, etc., etc. And in total, we need also 4 paintbrushes, a sacrificial one, in order to grab the paint from pots, like Citadel pots. If you use Vallejo, they are dropper bottles, so you don't need this one. We also need this sacrificial one in order to mix some paints, to do this motion. I don't wanna I don't wanna screw my good paintbrush in mixing paints. So you need a sacrificial paint. You need your workhorse, a nicely a finely tipped one, a nice a good paintbrush with pointy tip. This one has no pointy tip right now, mainly because it is dry like Sahara Desert, but you're gonna see when I add some moisturizing how this is going to change. So this is your workhorse. In my case, I am going to use the Citadel layer brush. It says the size is M. My holy grail of a paintbrush, the only paintbrush that I have that it is, pure red sable, as it says over here. This is a Rembrandt brush, number 1. This is a finely tipped one. I maintain this. This is my holy grail of paintbrushes, and I maintained it every day. Every day, every time I use it, I maintain it. I want to keep it alive for as long as possible. And last but not least, a very, exotic paintbrush. This random eyeshadow brush that you can find in €1 shops for ladies, makeup shops. We need a brush shaped like this for dry brushing. I don't care at all for this one. It costed me €1.50. This is my sacrificial paintbrush for dry brushing. So, in general, you're gonna need 4 paintbrushes, okay? 3 are gonna do all the work. Maybe 2, but anyway, let's say 3. A good one, your workhorse, and one for dry brushing. So, that's all that we are going to use. That's all the stuff we need to in order to paint this guy. Let's start. As you can see, I'm opening my wet palette. Colors are still alive. That's why I have a wet palette. Nothing for no other reason. It keeps my colors alive. This one is a no-name one. I'm probably going to buy a named one, mainly because they are bigger and I want to see the difference. I want to see if a difference exists, but this puppy can do the work nicely. So, give your color a good shake, make the pigment go everywhere, leave it over here a bit, and first rule of painting. Before you use your brushes, they are dry, as I've said, like Sahara Desert. Never attack your paint with dry brushes. This will damage the brush and will cause you some issues if your brush is damaged. So first things first, golden rule, what you do? You moisturize them a bit. Okay, this is my sacrificial one, I don't care at all, but this is my workhorse. Let it drink some water. Now that thing is full of water. It's too much water over there. What I'm gonna do is remove some excess. I am going to do that on my paper towel, as you can see, and I am just, just touching it and pushing back, doing, like this, a motion like this. So as you can see, now it has a nice pointy tip. Now it is ready for work. Now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna leave it aside for a moment. I am gonna grab my sacrificial one. Grab some paint from my jar and place it whenever in my wet palette. Okay, that's all the paint I'm gonna need right now. So that's my second step. That's the second step in general. What do I have over here? I have paint that it is thick at the time being, at the moment. What I need to do is to add some water to make it thinner. Why I need thinner paint and not straight out of the pot? To avoid several stuff. Some of those stuff is brush strokes. Well, let me rephrase it. Thinner paints can conform to to your surface better. Rule number one. Second rule is with thinner base you avoid brush strokes if you are careful enough and apply the paint in thin coats and let it dry completely in between coats, so you won't have brush strokes. And third, last but not least, from the things that I can think right now, is that you won't obscure any detail by applying thick coats of paint on your figure, on your model, or the area you want to paint. So what we need to do right now is to thin our paints. That's what I am going to do. I am going to add some water over here, and I am going to thin this puppy. Now I overly thinned it over here, but that's okay. As you can see, I am always removing the excess. And now we are ready to attack our guy over here, our figure. My color choice for this guy is Citadel's Wag Flesh, as I've said. But if you don't have this one, you can also use Vallejo Camo Dark Green. They are almost the same. In general, you just need a dark green for a base coat. Okay? So, let's grab some paint. Now, you see this? If you don't attack your model with a paintbrush looking like this, except if it is a base coat. Why you don't attack your model with a paintbrush looking like this? Mainly because you don't have control where the paint is gonna go, okay? If you are painting, if you're trying to paint a detailed part, this is not a proper brush loaded with paint to start doing that. But since I am applying a base coat, and I don't care if I create a mess, this is fine for me at the time being. So another good tip in order to maintain the tip of your brush is to always paint at a 45-degree angle. This will maintain your brush for a little longer, This will help the bristles not to, lose their shape, not to become like this one over here. Now that's a trick that I learned not quite a while ago, quite recently, so I am going to pass this knowledge. As you can see, I am not persistent. I am just applying my first coat of paint, and if I don't cover anything, if I don't cover not anything, if I don't cover all the surface of the figure, I don't worry at all. Either way, I am going to apply 2 coats of paint, so I don't need to have coverage from the first coat. I just need to go slow and make sure that my paint will get into nooks and crevices. This is my first base coat. Now sometimes while you paint, you will see your brush to lose its shape, to lose, its pointingness, if I can describe it like that. You can always dip it in water, remove the excess, and load it again with paint and start anew. Always remember the process that I am doing. Dip the paint in water, remove the excess water, give it shape once again, and start anew if you want to maintain your paintbrush. And if you want to achieve to have a good result. In general, you don't need to rush anything. This hobby taught me that patience is everything. Patience is key. You can work wonders if you don't rush things, if you take your time and go slow, move slowly but surely, you can work wonders. So that's our base coat for his skin tones. What I am going to do right now, of course, and I am going to clean my paintbrush. I am going to leave him aside, let him dry completely, add another layer, add another layer of the same paint, of the same color, just to make sure that I have good coverage in every surface. And I am going to be back to talk about our first layer of highlights. Now, here is how he looks at the time being, with one coat of paint. I am going to be back with another coat applied and dry. Well guys, this is how our dude is looking after 2 coats of wag flesh, and we have a solid base. Now, some of you may tell me that it is good, he's good to go. I am good to go to the next textures and parts of the miniature, but I say no. We finish one thing at a time, and also, what do we need to do to make him more interesting? Right now, we have a plain surface, a boring green monochrome, if that word exists anyway, surface. What do we need to do? We need to add some depth. We need to add, visual interest. We need to bring that detail up to make it pop. How do we do that? There is two ways to do that. My way, and I am going to introduce my way because this is the way I am more familiar with. I'm not gonna talk about the other way. I don't want to bore you any further, more than I usually do. Anyway, what's that way? To add highlights, to create the illusion that light hits those surfaces, you know, to give it a more aesthetically pleasing appearance to your miniature, if that makes sense. So, what do we need to do? As I've said, we need to add highlights. In order to add highlights, we need a brighter green tone of what we used as base coat, or any green tone at all, as long as it is brighter, and it is not darker than this one. We need something to pop, to make the difference, to bring up all the detail. I know I said that again. Anyway, so what I am going to use, I am going to add 2 layers of highlight, and now we're gonna work onto the first layer. So I have many options over here. This time I am going to go with pale green Vallejo Modeler 71095. That's my choice. You can choose whatever you have in hand. Don't worry. Don't worry. Uh, you don't need to use the same colors as I do. Just choose a brightest color, a brightest green color than what you used as a base coat. So let's see. I have already shaken the bottle. Let's apply some paint onto my wet palette and let's start. Where do we apply those highlights, you may ask? Let me find my paintbrush. Come on. We apply the highlights onto the raised surfaces. I'm gonna give you an example. Let me see. Let me zoom in a little bit. I think that we're good. Yes, we are. Oh, for once in my life, I find perfect camera angle. Okay. So, I am moisturizing my brush. I am loading it with color. You see how it is right now, and I'm not gonna attack my figure with that kind of brush. I am going to unload the majority of it and keep just the amount I need. Now, what do we do now? We pick and hit the raised surfaces. This needs patience, this needs steady hands. Keep both your elbows on the table and meet your angles together like this. Create a triangular shape. This will help you if you have shaky hands. Keeping your breath also helps, but I'm not doing that right now, mainly because I need to talk. As you can see, I am going slowly. I'm not applying almost any pressure at all to my paintbrush, and I am just covering 3/4 of the raised surface. I am leaving some of the base coat still visible, mainly because I need that artificial shadow. Since I am creating artificial light, I also need the artificial shadow to be there. I am just picking his raised muscles. Those are the parts that are going to help me. Those are the protruding parts, the parts that light will hit first. And that's what I am going to do to the whole of the miniature. I am going to hit the raised areas, hit the more pronounced parts, muscles, etc., etc. You don't need to see me do that on camera. I am going to continue, give once again 2 coats, don't worry. As you can see, I am applying my first coat really diluted. 2 thin coats of paint will do the trick. As I've said, patience is key in each aspect of modeling, not only figure painting, but in each aspect. So you need to be patient, guys. You need to trust the process. Now, let me paint the rest of the guy off camera, and I'll return so you can see the results. Although you must already start to see some results. If my camera wants to focus, come on, darling. Oops, I messed it up. Okay, you can see some faint difference. Let me take care of it, let me continue working on it, and I am going to be back in order to see the full results of my first coat of highlights. And now, guys, here is how our dude looks after our first set of highlights, our first round of highlights. As I've said in my previous clip, all you need to do is cover up 3/4 of the raised surface with a brighter green. This will help you maintain shadows and make the detail pop up a little bit more. Now, this is a good stage to call it good, if you just want a decent looking miniature for a tabletop and you have quite a huge army. This is a stage that you are good to go. Your miniature has some detail. It is obvious from far away and close up. And you, as I've said, you can call it good. But we can go the extra mile. We can go, if you wish, we can go the extra mile. I wish to go the extra mile, both for video purposes and because I enjoy the painting aspect of the hobby right now, at this moment in time. So that's what I am going to do. And what is our next step if we wish to make an even better miniature, to paint an even better miniature, not make, sorry. Our next step is to add another extra layer of highlights. This means that we need an even more brighter green. And in my case, I am going to use this one. This is Oruk Flesh. It is one of the brightest greens I have in my possession, and we are going to use it as our brightest highlight. Now, at this moment, it is a good time for you guys to grab your holy grail of paintbrushes. I am going to grab my pure sable ones, mainly because I'm gonna need extra control. As usual, I am loading the brush with. I am moisturizing the brush. Sorry, not loading it. I am going to also take some color and apply to my palette, to my wet palette. We don't need a lot, just a little bit. And let's start. Let's zoom in a little bit so you can have an even better view. And let's once again start. Let me prepare my brush. And now, what do we need to do? Now we need to keep in mind where our brightest highlights should be. Where the light is hitting our miniature the most, if that makes sense. And we just hit those spots with our brightest paint. Now, once again, you will need to apply a small amount. Don't forget, we don't need to cover our previous layers. We just need to to create the illusion of the brightest highlights. So once again, 2 quarters of our previous layer will be our mid-tone. That's how I am going to name it. This takes patience, this takes time. You need to think where to apply your paint. As I've said, practice makes perfect. Don't expect to get it on the first go. If you make a mistake, you can always return back to your previous stage. You can always, repaint the whole thing. Just keep in mind that we need to attack our miniature from every possible angle. This will help you to create, the desired results. As you can clearly see, as I am moving downwards, I am applying less and less paint. And I am keep loading my brush, Paint is nicely diluted, so keep that in mind. Always dilute your paints, thin coats. This is the best way to go, mainly because you can gradually build your desired effects. So this is the theory around it. Guys, I am going, of course, to keep, working on my figure over here, and I am going to be back to show you the results. And here is our fella with all his skin tones ready. By my opinion, of course, this one is the average Joe's, painting technique. I'm not claiming to be Duncan Rhodes, neither I claimed that I would paint this miniature to participate in Golden Demon contest. Anyway, this is my way of painting orcs skin so far. Now, now that everything is ready, I am going to leave his skin as it is until the very end. As you can see, we have multiple layers of green or interlocking, if I could say each other, I could create smoother gradients if the surface was bigger, but for what it is good enough by my opinion. Now that we blocked the majority of the miniature, now that we blocked his skin tone, it is time for us to move on to the next step. The next step in my procedure is to start blocking other areas of this miniature. I am going to base coat almost everything before my first wash stage. Now, what that means, what's my next target? My next target in this case is going to be his pair of trousers. Now, about the trousers, once again, you paint them as you wish. You want an orc that wears blue jeans, that's okay. You want an orc that wears leather pants, that's okay. You name it, orcs do it. I don't think that anybody is gonna tell you that they should wear something specific. It is up to you. My choice, mainly for uniformity reasons, mainly because these guys are an army and I want them to look similar, is going to be canvas 314. It is a good generic color for pants, pouches, bugs, etc., etc., by my opinion. And this is what I am going to use in my case. So let's drop a little bit on our wet palette. There is not a lot left in my bottle, but anyway, what's left will suffice, I suppose. And now we're gonna go back to our workhorse brush. Once again, moisturize it, get the excess water out of our paintbrush and go. Almost go, you know. Load your brush with paint, and now we go. Now you don't need to be extra careful, but I would suggest that you should, mainly because it is a good practice. Practice in every stage, guys. Practice to express it better, practice your brush control on every stage, guys. This will help you with your future endeavors. This will, as I've said, improve your hand-eye coordination, and we will help you to practice on keeping your hands steady. If that made sense, once again. I have to stop thinking in Greek and translating in English. This doesn't work always. But it is a matter of practice. Once again, I need to practice that as well. Anyway. Of course, take your time and base coat its detail, like his pants straps, etc., etc. We don't want to go back, you know. Make sure that you finish coating everything with its color. Going back is a little bit, you know, frustrating. And not only frustrating, it also it's up your time. So that's the first base coat for his trousers. Together with his trousers, I am going to paint its leather part of this miniature. For the leather parts, I am going to use, let me give it a good shake. Vallejo model color, red leather 7818. That's my color choice the last few days. I am just getting familiar with this particular color. It is a nice color for depicting red leather, as it says. Now, let me once again load my brush, prepare it, and be extra careful, because we need to hit his belt and his belt only. Don't worry, if you make a mistake, you can always go back and fix it, you know. Just be extra careful. Also, don't worry if your paint isn't exactly covering the edge of an item, of a specific area that you need to paint. Sometimes the wash will help you. You know, the wash will get itself into the nooks and crevices of the miniatures, and any unpainted areas will get covered by it. I am going also to paint with leather as you can see, his bootstraps. That's how I'm gonna call them, bootstraps. Okay, I will need my precision brush over here. My precision brush. As I said, I need to get in there. And my sable brush would get me everywhere. Okay, I think that this is good enough. Let's clean our holy grail. And now, except the bootstraps, we have his wristbands to paint as well. My choice for his wristbands once again is leather. Sorry, I was out of the frame for a moment there. Hopefully is my first time through the course of the video and the last time that I am out of frame. Oh, I have shaky hands. Too much coffee. Come on, come on. Now this is an awkward point. Of course, and I am going to leave this part uncovered without any paint at all, mainly because, as I've said, I will need to glue his armor pieces later on, so don't worry about it. And that's all the parts that I am going to block. For the time being, I am going to wait for the color to dry completely, give another coat of each one off camera, and I am going to return back for the armor pieces. And guys, here is how our guy is looking after 2 coats of canvas in his pants and 2 coats of red leather in his bootstraps. That's how I'm gonna call them, and wristbands. While I was at it, I took the I took the decision to work a little bit on his face and in small details here and there that I won't be able to work on camera, mainly because the area is too small. So I don't know if you can see, I have painted all the stitching on his pants with a normal black color. Let me see if I can find it. Give me a moment. Yep, this one is 71057 black Vallejo Modeler. I used my Holy Grail brush for this detail work. I painted the bird skull on his face that covers his face with Ushabti bone from Citadel, and the jaw, the iron jaw around the skull, surrounding his face, together with, the ornaments as well, like this one. Come on, focus, darling. Give me a moment, guys. Of course, and it won't focus for me. Why should it? Okay. Now, nope. Okay, anyway, the additional ornaments on his on the skull and etc. are painted with nothing else than Panzer Dark Grey 71056. Now, what do I need to do in order to complete to continue our work with my dude over here, I will need to add fake shadow on his pants and on the leather straps and on the skull as well. Since I don't have a lighter tone of canvas in my hands, I will use washes to create dark shadows. So, in this particular moment, I will use this wash. This is Agrax Earthshade from Citadel. It is essentially a dark brown wash, okay? And that's what I am going to use on his pants, straps, and on the skull that he wears on his head as a helmet. This will seep into the crevices and into the details of these areas and help me to create artificial shadows. I will apply an even coat. I will manipulate the wash to get it into where I need it to be. You can do it. You can do this kind of thing while the wash is still wet. You can get it into the details you need it to be, and then I will leave it to dry. And after that, I am going to talk with you, about my next step. So, for my wash application, of course, and I am going to use my workhorse. Let me find it. Okay, I have it on hand. Let's moisturize it a bit. And let's crack open the wash. I have already given it a good shake off camera. I don't need to do that every time. So here it is. I load my brush, unload the excess, always unload the excess, even if it is a wash or paint. Keep that in mind and give it a liberal application just for the beginning. Go slow, build it up in layers, and you will have wonderful results. Be extra careful not to apply wash in any areas that you don't need it to be. In my case, I'm gonna be extra careful not to apply it on his skin tones, and I'm also gonna explain why I didn't paint the armor. I have a different idea for the armor this time. I wanna test something. I wanna test a different wash in his armor. So, okay. Okay. Let's try to hit his wristbands. Just a tiny amount is going to make a huge difference. Believe me, guys. And now let's hit his helmet, his skull helmet. Normally I should hit his teeth as well, but I am still working on his mouth, so I am going to leave it as it is for the time being. Now that I have applied my washes, I am going to give it a thorough check off camera. As you can see, I am still manipulating the wash. I am trying to get it to every nook and crevice. This is a thing you can do until before the wash dries or starts to dry. You can push it in the areas that you wish it to pull the most, you know. And that's it. Now there is two ways that you can proceed from this point onwards. One way is one way. The first step is to wait for the wash to dry, and then you follow the two ways that I've told you. One way is to clean the excess wash with mineral spirits, you know, to clean it from the raised surfaces and leave it onto areas where you want the shadow to be. This is one way. The other way that I am going to follow this time is whenever the wash will dry, I will grab once again my canvas color. I may, you know, dilute it a little bit with dark sand to create an even lighter tone of canvas. If you want, you dilute it. If you don't want, you dilute. If you want, you mix it, or if you don't want, you don't mix it at all, and you aim straight for canvas as well. And apply it once again onto the raised surfaces without doing any cleanups. That's what I am going to do. I am going to wait for the wash to dry. I am going to grab canvas, hit the raised areas of his trousers. Then I am going to grab red leather, hit the raised areas of the straps on his boots and on his hands. And for his helmet, I am going to grab Screaming Skull. It is a lighter tone of Ushabti bone. Let me give you a closer look. I don't know if you can see the difference. I believe that you can. So I am going to grab this one and work on the highlights of his skull mask. So what I need to do right now is a little bit I need to be a little bit patient, wait for the wash to dry, and add my highlights, my artificial highlights. So either you clean the wash or you add highlights. You can do both, but it is an overkill if you ask me for this size of figure. Anyway, I am going to add highlights off camera. I don't want to bore you any further, and I am going to be back to show you how it looks. I am going to be back to show you how it looks after the wash is dry, and then I am going to be back to show you how it looks after the highlights. And here is how our friend is looking exactly after the wash is dry. I want you guys to take a good look at his trousers, because that is the spot that you're gonna see the biggest difference. And I also want you guys to take a good look at his skull helmet. This is the second spot that we are gonna see a huge difference. That you know what I wanna say. That would be the most obvious parts in my video that you're gonna see immediate change. And here is our guy with his highlights added. I probably know that you won't be able to see a huge difference through my camera, but believe me, up close and personal, the difference is subtle but visible. Now you could go overboard and add another layer of highlights. I just added one layer. You could once again mix your colors with a lighter tone or with a similar color that is going to create a lighter tone, and add another layer of highlights. But in my case, I believe that I don't need to do that. The area is too small, and why bother with something that it won't be so visible? The main area of this guy is, by my opinion, over here, this spot. So that spot, I have taken good care of it At least that's what I wanna believe. So now, what's my next step? Since I don't wanna bore you any further, you have seen me apply paint. I'm just going to describe you what I am going to do. I am gonna start base coating the rest of the miniature. This means that I need to base coat his armor, mainly located on his feet, since we don't have his groin armor and his arm pads, not shoulder pads. Anyway, his bracelets. Let's call them bracelets for the time being. So I'm gonna paint the armor on his feet, and I am going to paint the chains and his spiked ball over here. Now, for the armor on his feet, I am going to use one of the good yellow colors that I have a good coverage straight out of the box of the pot. This is Avalanche Sunset. With Avalanche Sunset, I am going to paint this part, that part, the shin part, and the part over here. This part on his knee and the rear part of his shoe are going to get painted with Panzer Dark Grey, mainly because I need that contrast. I believe that contrast helps this armor bring up its details. Separate. Don't have a huge pile of yellow over here, of a bright color. If that made sense, I don't know. It doesn't look appealing to my eyes, so I am going to separate it to create. To use another color to have contrast, and that's my Panzer Dark Grey. Now, for the artificial steel teeth that this guy has over here at his jawline, I am going to use Mephiston Red, because I need a bright color over here in order to grab the attention, if you know what I mean. And last but not least, I am going to use Leadbelcher for the chains on his back and his spiked ball. That's all the base coats that I am going to apply off camera. I returned, guys, and as you can see in front of you, I have our main man, the Jumping Jack. That's how I call him right now. Base coated, and over here I have his mate. I have him here for a reason. Now, it is time for me to apply the two final washes and talk about finalizing, finishing the whole thing, the whole miniature thing without the base once again. So, in order to do that, I wanna talk about this dude over here. This dude has been treated with the same exact stages, but I wanna do a change. The wash that this dude, the wash that was used in this dude armor, at least, was Agrax Earthshade, and I wanna change that. I wanna change that in this dude over here, mainly because I wanted I wanna achieve a different look on the next guy's armors, on the next miniature's armor, and I wanna experiment a bit. I wanna see if Reikland Fleshade, which is a reddish wash, is gonna work better for yellow armor. For this dude, for example, and that's what I am going to experiment with right now. So, I am gonna use Reikland Fleshade on his armor bits, on the yellow armor, and over here at his tooth, mainly because that's a proper way that's a proper wash for a mouth and facial expressions. If you're painting normal flesh tones and not orc flesh tones, but anyway, So I'm gonna experiment a little bit with this one, and over here at the back, whenever you see, whenever in all the areas that I have painted with lead belcher, I am going to apply my classic Tamiya panel line black wash. That's what I am going to do on camera, to be honest with you guys, so we can see the changes taking place. I'm gonna start with the easy part first, the Tamiya, the part that I am sure that I am going to proceed with, the wash that I am sure that I am going to proceed with, sorry. And then I am going to move to the flesh shade, to the Reckland flesh shade, with I am going to proceed with my experiment. Now you're gonna tell me you have painted half an army and you decided to experiment right now. Yep. Timing is not always wasn't always my, strong point, but anyway, I believe that it can work. I gave it a thorough thought in my mind, and I believe that it can give me, the results I wanna achieve. So let's see. Let me try, and if this works, yeah, that's a win for me. If not, that's okay. I am going to re-base coat him. I'm gonna base coat him again and proceed with a Graxard set, but I believe that it will work nicely. It will work like a charm, yeah. Oh yes, that is the color I wanted to achieve. So far it looks very promising. Oh, alright. Okay. Let's give a wash all over his mouth so his teeth will be more pronounced. Okay. So what I need to do right now, what I will do right now, of course, and I will return when our wash over here is properly dry, but before that I am going to use to dry brush his metallic parts, the metallic parts of this miniature. Now, for dry brushing the metallic parts, what are your choices? What are my choices? And what could possibly be your choices as well? Either you go with Citadel's Rune Funk Steel, and if you don't have this one, you can go with Vallejo Modeler Chrome 71064. These two colors are so close to each other, with the only difference that Chrome is a little bit more diluted, if that makes sense. It is a little bit more on the thinner side. It works wonder. Both of them work wonders, and both of them are the choices for me when it comes to dry brushing metallic parts and armor pieces on this army. Now, I will also give multiple recommendations. You can also use Vallejo Modeler Steel 71065, and you can also use, once again, Vallejo Modeler 71062 aluminum. These are all three of them, all four of them, together with a citadel color, as you can see, are pretty similar, and they should should do the work, nicely. Now, that's for the metallic parts. That's what my recipe will be for the metallic parts. A simple dry brush after the wash is totally dry. For his armor pieces, for the yellow on his armor, for the yellow parts of his armor, I am gonna say I may leave it as it is. Depends how the wash looks when it dries, or I may give it a coat of highlights either with tan yellow 17912 or the original color, the base coat color I have used, which is Everland Sunset. Either I do it, either I don't. Once again, I am going to use these colors for dry brushing the dark gray parts of his armor as well. This will make them look well worn and weathered, and that's the final stages I am going to do on this miniature. Yeah, that's all. Then I am going to start working on his base. I am going to do a simple demonstration in front of camera, just a simple technique, a simple and cheap technique to have a good, a good result, like this guy. This is, I don't know if you agree with me, but I find this base a solid and safe choice. I am going to do the same over here with this guy. And this is what I call, guys, a successful experiment. I didn't do anything at all. I just waited for the wash to dry, for the Regland flesh side wash to dry, to be specific. That was the part that I was concerned the most, if I would like the appearance and if I wanted to change it. So I think that I do like the appearance. That was my intention for the whole army from the get-go. Anyway, I didn't have that wash in my hands. I have it right now. I decided to take the risk, quote-unquote risk, and it looks like it is successful. I'm not gonna touch it at all. I just left the wash to dry, and I'm not gonna highlight this thing, mainly because I am really happy with the looks of it. So, what's our next step? What's our last before basing and clear coating the whole thing? Our last but not least step is a dry brushing, as I've told you guys. And over here, in my case, for the time being anyway, you catch my drift, I am going to use non-funk steel mainly because it is potent and it is easier for me to show you on camera. I'm not gonna use a wet palette. I never use wet palettes with metallic colors. For some reason, metallic colors, when you add just a tiny amount of water, they tend to separate, separate the metallic flakes, kind of separate. I don't like how they look. You can try yourself at home and understand what I mean. So I am going to use it straight out of the pot. What are we going to need in order to have a successful and easy dry brushing stage? You are going to need a brush shaped like this. This is not even not the ideal one. Anyway, best case scenario, cheapest brush is this one. This is a high-tech brush that as I've said, I have bought from the €1 shop, and it is a nice shadow brush. So, forget that you have girlfriends or wives out there. Now you know where you can find one for free. What are we gonna do? Of course, we're gonna load our brush. The process is really, really easy. straightforward. You just need to have some perspective. And I am going to unload the majority of it. Be extra careful with this effect, guys. And with weathering in general, you may get carried away and overdo it. So better to build the desired effects up slowly. Now, what I wanna airbrush, of course, airbrush. Oh my god, dry brush. Sorry, guys. With metallic colors, of course, and I don't wanna do the skin at all. The leather parts and his pair of trousers. I am just going to hit only the metallic parts of this figure, this miniature, which means that we're gonna start with the chains at his back. As you can see, Runefang still is a really strong color, and you can almost immediately see the results. It has great coverage. That's what I've told you. Go slowly, and take a lot of paint off your paintbrush before you start. You don't need to apply any pressure to your hand. You just flick it. Hit it from every angle, every possible angle. The ball, at least. Hit the ball from every possible angle, I should say. And go for the rest of the metallic parts. Now, in my case, you can see that I am starting to become very, very careful, mainly because I don't want any of this metallic sheen in the leather parts or the pants or in any unwanted place. I am just only aiming for the armor, and I am trying to follow the armor's flow, if you catch my drift. Hopefully the three people left watching at this time of the video understand what I am saying. Now this effect will be instantly visible in the dark gray parts, because dark gray parts take this dry brush, this metallic dry brush, like a charm. Let me reload my brush. And now is the part that we have to be extra careful. Just a small flick here and there. Just a small flick is enough. Follow the flow of the blades, if there are any blades. So your dry brushing will be more, your weathering in general will be more convincing. Sorry guys, if at any moment I have been out of frame, I get carried away. And I'm not always watching through the camera. And I think that's it. Our guy is ready. If I'm not mistaken, I haven't forgotten anything. I do like the amount of dry brushing I did. And now let me give you a closer look. Let me try to give you a closer look. Come on, focus, darling. Here is our guy, dry brushed. You guys focus on the dark gray parts of the armor. This is the most visible part, probably. Look how good the edges grabbed the steel, not texture, the steel color. Now this thing has a metallic sheen, looks like a well-worn armor, an armor that has been put in use and not a proper one. And that's our miniature, more than tabletop ready. That's my opinion. So I have left for the keen eyed amongst you. You have see that I have left the stone that he steps on before jumping unpainted. This is going to get painted when I am going to paint the base. Now, for the base. Disclaimer, I am no expert, guys. So, yet I am not expert at all. It is kind of difficult for me to work on a small round base, to be honest with you. I can easily create a huge base, a diorama or a vignette base, but this is different for me. So I am doing baby steps. I am using simple materials, and I am just looking for a simple and convincing base, not something crazy. And that's what you are going to see. So, what are we going to use? 2 stuff and 2 stuff only. Maybe 3, okay? Small rocks or pebbles are the third stuff. First stuff, and the only stuff that you probably need to pay for, is cork. Cork is a very nice material to work with. It is easy. It can be shaped into multiple stuff, from rocks up to tarmac, or even road. If you get what I am saying here. Now, in my case, I am going to depict rocks. I am going to embed a piece of this cork onto my base and try to pass the illusion to you guys that this is a rock. Now, for me, I also bought this. In my case, I also bought this from the $1 store. It costed me €1.50 for a sheet of almost 30 centimeters, 30 by 15, something like that, if I remember correctly. I don't know right now because I have butchered the whole thing, but let me show you the amount. This is half of the thing, and I have paid €1.50 for this thing, and I have plenty enough to go. Okay, so that's the only amount of money that you need to pay. Except of course PVA glue. Okay, we all have PVA glue, guys, at this moment in time. So that's my first material, and my second material is simple sand gathered from a random beach. Doesn't get any cheaper. You don't need to use fancy stuff to depict sand or soil or anything. The best stuff to use is the real stuff itself. So that's the only 2 stuff that I am going to incorporate in my base. I don't know, use, let me grab it, guys. Small pebbles. Okay, I don't remember if I have paid for this stuff or where I sourced it, so I'm not gonna talk about them. And this depends if I am going to use them, not if I like the looks. If I am happy with the looks of those 2 in such small base, I don't tend to overdo stuff, if you catch my drift. I don't want this small base look too busy, to be honest. It doesn't look good to my eyes. So, let me prepare myself, and I am going to do a quick demonstration Okay, guys, let's start with the base. I'm gonna be as quick and as thorough as I can, mainly because I don't specialize at it and I don't want to talk about it a lot. So we have our base. What are we going to use? I have already said what I am going to use. Sorry, I am going to start with the cork seeds first. Mainly, it is good to start with the biggest things. If I have the corks, it's the small pebbles and the sand. I am going to start with the quartzites first, then the pebbles, and then the sand, mainly because the quartzites and the pebbles would look more incorporated, more, embedded into the soil. That's the way. That's a general rule. You start with the biggest thing first when you create fields, diorama, bases, whatever you wanna call it. So in my case, you also have to take in consideration where your guy needs to go. I mean, if you want to place him over here, or over here. In my case, I'm gonna place him further back, mainly because it is more aesthetically pleasing for me. Let me give you a closer look. Sorry, ooh, blurry. Sorry, guys. So here how he looks here is the place where I am going to place him. Now, what do we need to do? Let him rest over there for a while. You also need the sacrificial paintbrush, and let's start with our cork seeds. Now we need random shapes, okay? Totally random shapes. Mainly because whatever happens in nature is random. We don't have, straight edges and stuff like that. So you need to haphazardly cut your cork and plan a little bit, plan to be random, if that makes sense. So 2 pieces look good, maybe a third one over here. Now it looks like a weird smile, no. I am trying to manipulate it a little bit to make it look as random as possible. Yeah, now it looks like a smiley face. That's gonna be enough for me, yeah. Okay, now it looks better. It looks more terrainy, quote unquote, if you catch my drift here. So, normally, the best way to glue cork onto your base is PVA glue. Now, that is going to be a little bit, a problem for me. But as I've said, for video purposes, I will use super glue. That's not ideal at all because super glue tends to seep through the cork, and you glue your finger under the cork, but not the cork onto the base. Believe me, I have done it in the past. It doesn't work. So don't do as I do. Use PVA glue. I am only using super glue for video purposes, for time constraints. I need to demonstrate something quickly and I need to do it tonight. Ooh, no, that's a big amount, but that's okay. I love dollar store super glues. You need a small amount and boom, they give you a huge one. Anyway, I'm not gonna start complaining about this thing. You get what you paid for. let's start adding our cork sheets. I do not worry at all for the excess glue that is visible. Every bit of the base is gonna get covered. And we have our first terrain pieces. I should glue him over here right now at this moment, mainly because that's the best time for me to do that, guys. And I need glue, and I have no glue laying around. Give me a moment. I am back. As you can see, this is the one clip that I'm not well prepared for this time. I have to have one of those clips in my episodes. It's a rule. It is law. It is unwritten law. That's exactly what it is. Let's glue our fella over here. And probably I was out of frame, but anyway, really sorry, guys. And now I will wait about 10 minutes for this thing to properly cure, a bit at least. Okay, now he is relatively dry, and we can work with him a little bit more. Now let me see, at this stage what I need to do. At this stage, guys, I will need to add some undiluted PVA glue and sprinkle the sand on top of everything. Okay, it is simple as that. As I've said, it is going to be simple and effective. I never lie, guys. So start adding your PVA glue with your sacrificial paintbrush. Haphazardly, that's okay. Haphazardly, yeah. Just keep in mind to have an even layer if you want the sand to stick at every surface of your base in this case. Pretty self-explanatory, guys. Don't need anything fancy over here. Okay, now it is ready to go. I am going to grab my sand pot and use my high-tech tools to sprinkle a little bit on top of every place I have applied my PVA. Oops. There was a hair inside there. Okay, when you believe that you have applied enough, just tap it. Tap the excess sand, it will fall off. And reapply again in any spot if needed. So, now this is great, but you need to know an extra little tip and trick. We can use another material that you can find at your local pharmacy stores to help the materials adhere better at the base. The sand in this case. This material is a liquid. It's nothing else than isopropyl alcohol, IPA. not India Pale Ale, but isopropyl alcohol. And what this magic liquid does, it breaks the surface tension of the glue and helps sand adhere better. Sand or dirt or soil, whatever you use. Just a tiny drop is enough. Just a tiny drop. A couple of tiny drops are enough. Sorry, guys. And that's it. Now, that's the majority of my base done. What I need to do right now, I will need to leave it to dry overnight. Leave the isopropyl alcohol and PVA glue work their wonders. And tomorrow night, I am going to base coat and dry brush the base and call it good. So on the next clip you're gonna see it dry and me talking about the base coats that I used in this base. In my case, not in this base, sorry, in my case, guys. And that's it, fellas. As you can see, our dude is finished. His base is completed. I have only used 3 colors, mainly because I wanted to simplify the process. I don't wanna, get you all mixed up with something simple as the base in this case. And let me tell you what I have used. I have started from the darkest color first, and I have painted only the cork sheets with that. That color was anthracite gray, 71052. You could use also Panzer Dark Grey, but I am all out at the moment, so I opted for my next best choice. Anyway, nobody will be able to tell the difference. So that was my shadow color, the darkest color that I have used. Then I dry brushed my highlight color for the cork sheets, mainly because that's the stone parts in my case, and this lighter tone of color is nothing else than neutral gray 7992. I dry brushed it all over the cork sheets and over here the small stone rock that he launches himself from. And last but not least, that I have dry brushed the whole surface, even the sand, is flat earth 7983. I dry brushed the whole thing, the whole base, to unify it, to give you the illusion that it is all in one piece. All the base is one piece. It's part of a greater terrain, if that made sense. And with that done, our miniature is ready. Now, if you have some grass tufts, you can always add them onto your base. It will add some interest. I'm not gonna do that, mainly because, as I've said, this is a small base. I don't need to do any fancy stuff. So if you followed exactly my tutorial, the steps that I have taken in this tutorial, you should end up with something that looks like this. Okay, in your case you may have more armor pieces, but anyway, let's skip that for a moment. So, that's everything that you need to do to have a figure above tabletop standards, by my opinion. I don't know. I would love to hear your opinions in the comment section below about that. So here we have it, guys, another unit complete. This time is a 3-man squad, as I've said. I don't remember their name right now, but anyway. And with all that said and done, we have made it to the end of this episode. I hope that you guys enjoyed found something interesting in this installation as well as the rest of them. And before I go, I want to thank each and every one of you people that watched this video. A special thank you to all my subscribers, old and new ones. You guys are the best and you are the reason I keep doing these videos. Now, for the newcomers out there that encounter one of my videos for the first time, welcome guys. I hope that you like what I do. If so, you all know what to do. Leave a like, comment with your thoughts and opinions, share the video if you believe it deserves to be shared, or even consider subscribing for more builds to come your way. Until the next time, fellow modelers and friends, take care and model on. It was that Mofo Damon signing out.